Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the CDL Driving Academy podcast. And in today's episode, we're going to be going over some juicy topics, which are going to be the road test is changing. That's right. The CDL road test is changing in August of 2023. It's official. It's happening in multiple states all across the country. And this is also a federal guideline that's pushing everybody to actually make this change happen. They're calling it the modernization of the CDL road test. So they want to make sure that everybody is up to date with the latest and greatest when it comes to what the industry is trying to say. So in other words, they're saying, hey, we have to change it. We have to make sure it's modern. And the reason why they say that they are changing it is that they've heard a lot of different things when it comes to the actual trucking industry, and they're having a lot of issues on certain topics, and they want to say, okay, if truck drivers are actually making a lot of the same mistakes, why don't we actually change the test to actual test for the information that we want, and to make sure, hopefully, that those mistakes on the real world and in real life actually start to drop down. If you are somebody who's looking to get a CDL license, I do recommend that you should go through this process ASAP, because when the test changes, most of the time it's not going to be an easy change. Most of the time they make things a little bit more difficult every single step of the way, right? So my recommendation is, if you want to get your CDL license, I definitely recommend that you go through this process as soon as possible before August happens, and understand that it's not going to be a one-stop shop. Because one of the crazy things that they're actually putting into place is, if you start the actual test before August and then all of a sudden you don't pass, maybe you only pass half of the test, by the time the test does change, you're going to have to start the test all over again on the new testing format. So you want to avoid that at all costs. You want to make sure that you actually get started with your CDL license. Right now we're in May, and things are going to just speed up during the summertime, right? So you want to make sure that you're able to get the process started, make sure that you are going for the CDL road test before, and you want to have at least 2 tries before this actual road test does change a lot. So let's talk about the road test itself. And again, we don't have every single detail, but we do have a great framework of what's going to be happening. So the road test is still going to be split into 3 different parts. Part number 1 is going to be an inspection portion of the vehicle itself. This is probably the biggest portion that's in the air. What we've been hearing on this portion itself is that a lot of some things might be changing, and some of the definitions might get more expansive. So what does that mean? That means that you're going to have to know more details on each individual item. So as an example, the pre-trip inspection used to be something where you would inspect up to 90 items of the vehicle, both inside and out, and you'd have to pretty much memorize a script. So as one example, you're going to say, okay, this is my brake chamber. This is what a brake chamber actually looks like right over here. It is mounted securely. It's not cracked. It's not dented. It's not leaking. And the clamps are present. If you miss one of those items as a description, then you will not get credit for that brake chamber. Now, there are 3 different brake chambers on the truck. You have one for the front axle, one for the middle axle, which is the drive axle, and one for the back axle. So if you miss it 3 different times, that means you lose 3 different points. It can get kind of crazy. What they are talking about is actually making each definition a little bit longer and maybe cutting out some of the items. So potentially it might get and become a shorter pre-trip inspection, but it might get more difficult, because when you start merging a lot of things together, that means that if you miss one thing, you're actually going to lose a whole lot of points, because things become a lot more valuable in the point system itself, right? So it might make it a lot more difficult to actually pass. That's why I'm telling you, if you want to make sure that things run as smooth as possible for you, my recommendation is start today. Don't wait till August, because what's going to happen is everyone's going to try to rush in, and we're probably already going to be booked by that date in time already, right? So super, super important that you do understand that. Now, like I did say that there is 3 parts of the road test. Part number 1 we talked about. Part number 2 is going to be the parking maneuvers. So right now we're testing people on 3 different parking maneuvers. You're going to have a straight line backing. You're going to have what's called an offset back, so it can be either be offset to the right or offset to the left. From there, the examiner is going to be able to pick whether the 3rd maneuver is going to be an alley dock or one of the parallel parkings, right? So one of the cool things about being here at Driving Academy is that we actually have our own third-party testing site, which means that we will give you the actual CDL road test ourselves, so you don't have to go to a local DMV and deal with a state employee. That being said, we have some leeway on which ones we're going to be giving our students. But now, when it comes to August, it's going to go from 3 different maneuvers to now it's going to test you on 4 different separate maneuvers itself, right? This is where we have a lot more detail on. So let's go through these let me actually pull it up on my secret phone right over here, as I have the actual screenshots of what's going to happen. So the first maneuver that they're going to be testing you on is something called a forward stop, right? So what does this mean? This means that you're going to pull the vehicle forward and your front bumper has to stop within a 3-foot box. Now this has to be done in one motion. You cannot stop, pull up, stop, pull up, stop, pull up, and you cannot get out to look. So it is very, very important that you make sure that you know exactly where your front bumper is. The reason why they added this maneuver to the entire list is going to be because a lot of people did not know where their front bumper was, which means that they were crashing into things with their front bumper, maybe into walls, maybe making turns or anything like that. So now that's why they added this maneuver to it. So it sounds pretty simple, but it is more difficult, because imagine being in this big vehicle and not really seeing where the front bumper is, right? Step number 2 is going to be the classic straight line backing. So straight line backing is a fundamental skill set that every truck driver needs on how to know how to back up the tractor trailer straight. You're going to have to know how to back up the tractor trailer at least 100 feet to do this maneuver correctly. The third maneuver is going to be called a forward offset tracking, right? So this is also a forward motion. It's not going to be a backing skill. So this one you're going to be pulling forward. You're going to be going around a certain cone, and you want to make sure that when it comes to what's called off tracking, that means the back trailer tires do not always match the front tractor tires itself, and they're always going to be a little bit inside. So there's going to be a cone there where you're going to have to go around, almost kind of like a right turn. And if you run over the curb, what do you think is going to happen? You fail, right? So what they're actually testing you on is making sure as you're pulling up, you're checking out your mirrors and you're making sure that the entire vehicle is in the proper position. And if you do that correctly, you get to move on. If you don't, you fail. And if you fail, you're going to hear this. That's right. So we definitely don't want to hear that. Now, I did say that there was 4. I only talked about 3. So what could that 4th one be? It's not crickets. It's actually going to be something called offset reverse backing. So that's the same type of thing when it comes to offset reverse backing. Is kind of like offset backing currently. The only difference is going to be you want to make sure that the back bumper is going to be inside of a 3-foot box, right? It's going to be kind of like a mixture between parallel parking and offset backing put together. If you're a student here, the cool thing is that we are the testing site, which means we're going to know exactly what's going to change on the CDL road test, right? And that means we know exactly how to train you. If you're going to a school that's not a third-party tester, what's most likely going to happen is the first couple students who go and take the test, the school is just testing it out. They have no idea what to train you on because the DMV does not do a great job of explaining to the schools itself on what's going to be changing. So the cool thing about coming with us is if you do not listen to my advice and get your CDL license now, and you want to wait till the new test actually comes, we're going to be more than prepared to make sure that you are trained fully and ready to rock and roll when it comes to actually getting past your CDL road test. So as a recap, you're going to have 4 different maneuvers. 1 is going to be a pull-up and stop inside the front box. 2 is going to be a straight line back, which is normal. 3 is going to be making sure that you're making a proper right turn. And then 4 is going to be a mixture between a parallel park and an offset backing. You want to make sure that you're inside the box and make sure that the back bumper is within the 3-foot box as well. It sounds kind of complicated now because it is complicated. If you want to avoid all that complication, just get yourself a CDL license today, and by coming on in, visit our website at cdldrivingacademy.com, and then we can actually set up an appointment, come in for a school tour at any of our locations, and we can get you in and out before this test actually starts, and you don't have to worry about none of this confusion. But I did say that there are 3 parts of the road test, right? And the 3rd part of the road test is not changing at all, and that's going to be the actual road driving itself. So can I get an amen? No, that's not an amen. That's some cheers right over there. All right, so everybody's happy that the whole road test is not going to be changing dramatically, but the first 2 parts are going to be changing. The pre-trip inspection is probably going to get more difficult. The parking went from 3 maneuvers to 4 maneuvers now, and things are going to get crazy in the transition time period. I have been through a few different changes already on the DMV test, and it's never a smooth transition when it comes to just being in the driving school itself. So don't risk your skill set, don't risk your knowledge, don't risk your money with a school that's not a third-party tester like we are, and all of our franchisees are going to know exactly how to start training, because this is something that we are fully aware of. I'm actually going to be going next month to the actual DMV itself to get fully trained on exactly how to give this test, and so will all of our examiners, so we'll know exactly what to bring back to our team and make sure that they are moving forward in the proper direction. So if you're looking to get yourself on your road to freedom with a CDL license and you want to do it with the least amount of confusion as possible, like I said many times in this video, make sure you sign up before August, because once August comes, a lot of confusion is going to be happening, and I'm not going to want to say I told you so. So what are you waiting for? Give our team a call, 908-525-3609, and if you do, you're going to hear one of these. Yeah, that's it. All right, so nice to see you, and I'll talk to you on the next podcast, and let's get you on the road to freedom. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching our podcast here. If you want to watch the latest episode, make sure you click on that video right over there. If you want to watch other great, amazing videos, make sure you click right over there. And as always, subscribe and share our channel so we can get to our mission of helping 1 million people get on the road to freedom. Thanks.